All right. Good evening and welcome to the regular meeting of the City of Mercedes. It is May 6, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. and I call this meeting to order. Next, I'll be establishing a quorum. I have Commissioner Dr. Howe, Commissioner Garcia, Commissioner Dr. Saldana. I have Commissioner Martinez, myself, Mayor Montoya. We have a quorum and a full commission. Invocation will be by me and then followed by item 4, Pledge of Allegiance by Mayor Pro Tem Saldana. Remove your hats. Thank you, Lord, for this day. Thank you for this blessing. Thank you for this opportunity to serve our community, Lord. Thank you for bringing us out of hard times, Lord, and all the things that we've gone through and all the help that you've been to us as a city, Lord. Thank you for opportunities to make changes and to keep things going in the right direction, whatever it is that you have planned for our city, Lord, that we be a part of it. We thank you for people who serve. We thank you for citizens, Lord, who elected us to this office. We thank you for their patience. We thank you also for their ideas. We just thank you for them, Lord, because we wouldn't be here without them. We just thank you for all that you do for us. We ask that you continue to bless us, that you help us to make wise decisions, Lord, and that we listen with our hearts and make decisions with our mind, Lord. We ask all of this in Christ Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, sir. Next is open forum. We have Mr. Albert Cano.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioner, Marty. My name is Albert Cano, 1418. I'm gonna take off my mask. Even though a good friend of mine says that I'm always protecting my chin, not my. Is that right, Oscar? 1418 South Texas. I just wanted to make it brief. I just wanted to come up here, because I've been noticing a lot of negative comments on social media and stuff like that. But, I just want to commend you guys for doing a good job. The city, I see, we're moving forward instead of backwards. A lot of cleanups going on, debris being picked up. I know we're short-staffed. Maybe we don't have all the employees that we need to for different departments. But hurricane season's coming apart. I mean, I would just, just my opinion, maybe like to see like cleaning of the manholes and stuff like that. Before it gets. I mean, it's perfectly right now. We had a big amount of rain and everything. I think we only had like 2 main flooding zones and stuff like that. But other than that, in the city, all the problem areas that flood, they just flood for a couple of hours. Once it stops raining, everything seems to flow very, very good. So I mean, we're doing a good job. Also, I wanted to commend. I know he's here right now, Chief Sanchez. I see a lot of patrolling going on, especially over by my neighborhood and stuff. I mean, I see that more and more often. He's involved with a community, with Little League and stuff like that. So it's good to see our chief out there. And I just want to commend the police department for doing a good job. And you guys and the city of Mercedes, Public Works and our parks, it's looking good. I mean, I'm glad to see Little League and Pony League finally come around again. So, we got to work together and, don't listen to all these people, all these haters on social media and stuff like that. I mean, I see it out there. You guys City of Mercedes is moving forward, and I just wanted to just touch a little bit on that and commend you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Albert. Moving on to presentation. Is that it, Madam Secretary? All right. Moving on to financial audit, 2023, 2024.
Yeah, Mr. Webb.
My name is Adrian Webb, and my firm conducted the audit for the City of Mercedes year ending September 30, 2024. I'm going to start with the communications and recommendations. Overall, the city received an unmodified opinion, but with 4 findings. And these 4 findings are going to relate to the recommendations. The first one is general ledger maintenance and providing support documentation in timely manner. During the audit process of receiving the documentation. We received incomplete schedules, and then that support that did not readily tie to the financial statements when we received it. And a lot of this has to do with turnover and transition from the finance department, getting new staff, losing staff. So I think that played a lot of part in the turnover, played a lot of part in this factor. So our recommendation is the city should consider training current staff, hiring additional staff, and or hired an outside third-party consultant to enhance procedures and internal controls relating to financial reporting. The second one would be segregation of duties. During the audit process of testing, bank recs, and payroll verification, it was noted that preparation and verification were being performed by the same individuals. City internal control policies require that these functions should not be performed by the same individual. It is recommended that the city revisit its internal control policies and conduct monitoring to ensure policies are being adhered to correctly. The third recommendation is fixed asset ledger maintenance. This is an ongoing problem from prior years. So the city is still recommended to perform analysis of the fixed asset ledger, the prior year balances, additions, construction in progress, and the retirements on the ledger did not agree to what the financial statements show. And that's all completes the recommendations. The next page will be the C1, which is the city's financials. We'll start with the balance sheet. Total assets was 19.1 million. Total liabilities was 2.4 million, resulting in a very healthy fund balance of 14.6 million. Of the 14.6 million, 11.7 is considered unassigned.
11.7 is considered what now? I didn't hear.
Unassigned.
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 Unrestricted.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's already earmarked, sir.
Uh-huh.
Total fixed assets at the end of the year ended at 34.228 million, while total long-term debt ended at 23.003 million. The next schedule is the C3, which is the income statement. Overall, there was 22.3 million in revenues, with 20 million point four in expenses, resulting in a increase in fund balance of 1.9 million, which is very, very good. And I think a lot of that has to do with revenues went up and expenses relatively stayed the same. So it's doing very, very well in that area. Total new additions to for fixed assets was 1.65 million. And then total repayment of long-term debt during the year was 2.267 million. The next page will be the budget, which is the G1. I'm going to skip through the notes unless you all have any questions concerning those, but usually we just kind of skip through those ones. Overall, on the revenues, the city was 2.2 million budgeted favorably, or actual revenues were favorable by 2.2 million. However, the total expenditures exceeded the budget by 472,000 as a whole, but that can be contributed to the which one was it? To the health and welfare. And most of this has to do with budget amendments weren't being done throughout the year. So that would, this is a finding. So as long as y'all do budget amendments before the year end in 2025, this finding should go away as long as it's under budget. The last item is the schedule of federal awards. Total federal expenditures for City of Mercedes was 1.872 million, with the majority coming from the ARPA funds, and that spent 1.4 million. And then that concludes what I was going to go over, unless you all have any questions or elaborations needed.
Let's have a just quick question. So overall, what would you rate our performance for the city as far as the audit?
Financially, very well. I believe that y'all are doing very well in financially. However, on internal controls and as I was saying, a lot of the turnover in staff and understaffing needs to improve.
So our overall rating would be what, sir?
It's just, I can only say unmodified with 4 findings.
So basically, just so I have an understanding, you're saying financially, we're sound. Management can use some approval or some improvement. Is that?
Yes,
Kind of
internal
between
control,
the
they
lines?
just, yeah, the new process, I mean, staff needs to be just more up to date on internal controls and make sure it's followed.
Internal control seems to be a new finding. Was it? I don't remember hearing that in the past.
Because since y'all had turnover, so, and that's what attributes to a lot, it's some of those procedures are being done by the same person. So, and they don't have anyone or a staff member that comes into, can review it for them, or they're not available, so they just did it themselves. So I think that, then you, when like find a new process that say, oh, let's city manager approve it, or someone on the board can come in and like review it every month, or somebody on.
Streamline the checks and balances pretty
Yes.
Do we get a copy of this? Because I'd love to read it.
Yes.
So, does anybody else got any questions? On the internal controls, I think the findings have been there, but maybe, I know that we talked about checks and balances in the past, and we've talked about turnaround time but a lot of it was attributed last time also to turnover, I think. So I think what we need is some kind of continuity. Is that basically, and I think you offered as one example would be an outside process, or maybe some kind of automation or something like that. Is that something that you also get involved in, or we'd have to get a third party to tell us what's the best
On
practices?
my side, I can only audit and then.
You can do the audit.
Yes.
So just to give you some insight, we did contract somebody towards the end of the year, and they had a mishap in their family, so they really couldn't come through and facilitate what they needed to do to help us get everything ready for him. And the turnover did not help. So what we're looking at doing now, instead of waiting till the end of the year to get somebody contracted, we might just contract them and making sure that he or she throughout the year on a quarterly basis reconciles, matches everything, provides oversight, and whatever he's recommending, that's inserted throughout the year instead of waiting till the end.
Because I'm a big proponent of hiring third party, because it's cheaper, easier, and you don't have to worry about turnover if you hire a company to do it, and you don't have to, especially if, I don't know that we don't have the amount of employees that we need. We just need, instead of hiring 2 or 3 people and then hoping they stay, we hire a company and we know exactly how much the amount is. Is that kind of what you're talking about? So that we have a set amount, so we know it's going to cost us next year this much money to help us keep those controls in place, as opposed to trying to hire somebody to do it and they may or may not stay.
You need to do both.
You need to do both.
Yeah, the problem was, so when you have turnover, you don't always get somebody that's experienced in city government, and so they have to go through a training process.
Right.
Therefore, reconciling may fall behind and not be kept up. This is where you come and outsource it, and that particular portion that's specific to the finding, that it gets done. So you don't have to worry about that.
And then they'll in turn train the people
Yes,
on the items that we can work in-house.
correct.
Okay,
Agreed?
I'm good.
Yes.
Anybody else? All right, thank you so much, Mr. Webb, appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Moving on to item 7, I have a consent agenda. I don't know, we want to take item A through D or,
Mayor, I make a motion to approve items 7A, B, and C and discuss D.
okay, and we have readings on B and C.
Oh, and forego the ordinances.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Martinez. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Saldana. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign, motion carries. And now we took 7D out of order, approval of surplus items for disposition to be placed on auction.
Mayor, I make a motion to approve, and I just have a quick question, Tom.
I have a motion by Commissioner Martinez. Do I have a second from Commissioner Garcia. Question?
You know, I just want to confirm. So, Tom, basically, you're replacing an old compressor for a new one. Is that correct? And the new compressor looks like it's probably a bigger tank and so forth, so you're able to do more? Okay, I just was kind of curious on that. I just want to confirm. That's all I
The
have.
picture we had is of the surplus one or the new one?
No, it was the new one and the old one. Right, it was the new one and the old one, because the new one was the taller one, right? With the tank? Yeah.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. 7D. Moving on to item 8, management items. Present, discuss, consider possible take action regarding approval of appointments to the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Mayor, if nothing else, I go ahead and I'll make the motion to approve. I believe it was Leonard Garcia and Jonathan Munoz.
Right.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Martinez, second by Commissioner Garcia. Any other further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 8B, final plat approval for Camino de Verdad Phase 2.
I don't know. Oh, there it is, because I do have a question.
Camino de Verdad Phase 2 is the second phase of a two-phase project. The first one belongs to Westlaco. This is a 22.76 acre subdivision. It's 63 lots and they're all going to be fourplexes. We did a walkthrough about 2 weeks ago. The water and sewer is going to be in an interlocal agreement with Westlaco. The only thing pending in the subdivision is the light post. AEP has been taking their time with putting that light post, but we already got confirmation from them that they will be installing them soon.
So this is over there by Mile 2 West,
Yes,
correct?
by Camino de Verdad.
By Camino de Verdad. So the side that's on, so both sides are on Westaco for?
No, one is a Westlaco and phase 2 is ours.
Oh, okay, all of it's ours. Okay, I misunderstood you.
The
Okay, yeah, I know the other one was a shared, and I thought, oh, okay, I thought we were gonna get the utilities on the second one.
The
Okay,
utilities, and I think there's an added note that we are being asked by Westlaco. I think they're limited in the capacity in the
For
source
sewer
side.
and water.
So we might have a little time to extend our sewer and water services over
to
there.
phase 1.
Mayor, discussion.
Awesome.
if I may.
Yes, go ahead.
Now that we're kind of talking about that area and about these plans and so forth, are we in any talks? I just kind of want to attach one to the other about maybe that road altogether now that we're communicating with Wesco. My understanding is half of it's Wesco, half of it's ours. But I know that that's been a pending issue with that road. I think that road serves more of our community members than the road further north. So I just wanted to see, are we in the process of that?
Yeah, we met with Westlaco about a month, maybe a month and a half ago. And that was one of the topics. We talked about joint ventures as far as what is connected to Westlaco with Mercedes that needs attention. So we're going through identifying a list and prioritizing, and that's one of them.
Mayor, I just
I
figured
think
with
it's
all the.
actually 3. It's us, the county, and
Yeah.
it's all 3 of us.
Correct.
I just figured, since we're already, kind of the subdivision in that area is growing, at this point, since we're, kind of communicating with Wesco, maybe we should also see, how we all maybe share an expense or how we figure this out. Maybe the 3 of us can come together and figure that out for that area because that area is booming. So eventually we're gonna have to get at it. So I'd rather get ahead of the curve.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving on to 9A, 9 ordinance resolutions. 9A, approval of first reading of ordinance 2025-10 to abandon drainage easement at Mercedes Light Industrial Park subdivision. Sorry.
I made the first motion.
Motion and second by Commissioner Garcia.
See ya.
Yeah.
Item 9A, approval of first reading for ordinance 2025-10 to abandon drainage easement at Mercedes Light Industrial Park subdivision. Did I miss something?
So Mayor, on this one, this is the Kamal project. The relocation, we relocated that to the industrial park,
Right.
okay? There's an easement there that was, not necessary we went through engineers on that. It was set up for drainage purposes, but it's not required at this time, because of the way it's being set up.
When I read through the backup, we had approved that abandonment sometime back, and now we're circling back because of a reason I can't remember.
It wasn't filed properly.
Ah,
So you need a motion to
but
amend
but nothing has changed.
Nothing has changed.
Okay.
But we did go through engineering to make sure that we're not gonna set that area up for flooding issues.
So I'm to infer that the project is moving forward.
Yes, and
So that's
he's
a good
ready.
thing.
He's excited.
Excitement is a good thing.
Yes, he's looking at relocating his business from, Mission.
Mission, yeah.
Perfect. Now, if I'm not mistaken, just in case, when he's talking about drainage, I think that was an actual abandoned irrigation canal
Correct.
that got sent over to drain. So it's not like it was a big part of our drainage system. Yeah, it's
Correct.
just an irrigation canal. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Hey, Mayor, I don't think anybody's made a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I think Commissioner Howell was about to make it.
All right,
Yeah,
go ahead,
so,
Doc.
so it's just, make a motion for the abandonment.
Okay, I have a motion by Dr. Howell. Do I have a second?
Second, Mayor.
Second by Commissioner Martinez. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving on to item 9B, approval of first reading of ordinance 2025-11, amending the conditional use permit ordinance.
I move that we approve this ordinance and what do we do with the reading?
Forego.
Forego the reading, yeah, that's the magic word, and forego the reading of it.
I'll
Okay,
second, Mayor.
I have a motion by Dr. Saldana. I have a second by Commissioner Martinez. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 9C, approval of first reading of ordinance 25-12, amending the R-MH zoning ordinance.
Mayor, I go ahead and I'll make the approval to approve the ordinance 2025-12 and forego the first reading of the ordinance.
Motion by Commissioner Martinez. Do I have
I'll
a
second and I have a
Second by Dr.
question.
Saldana. Discussion. Go ahead, Doc.
Denise, forgive my laziness, but there's already an ordinance in place like this that I saw that Mayor Liborio Hinojosa signed however many years ago.
Yes.
So this is a lot cleaner, updated. I noticed there's like cosmetic language that has changed because they're calling things different things, and now we have different kinds of manufactured homes as opposed to mobile homes
Yes.
and things like that. But is there anything substantive that has changed with it, or is it just?
We just changed some of the requirements to make it more like the cities around us. One thing it was that it wasn't very specific that they had to go through a business license. It was stated there, but there was no prices nor like procedure to it. So we just want to implement that. The other thing that was lacking was our building official, since it's gonna go through a business license, he has the right to go to the property and do the inspection annually to check the subdivision. Since most of the time it's private property, that way we can go there and address issues like the streets. Like I know the one we have right here in the back, that one they has street issues, but we couldn't address them because we didn't have the right to go into the
Private.
property.
Mm. Okay.
This opens it up.
Okay. Thank you, Denise.
A lot of sense. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving on to item 9D, approval of resolution number 2025-13, suspending the date and rate increase by Texas Gas Service. I'm sorry.
Can I back up and ask one more question about a
Yeah,
prior item or no?
You're out of order.
I'm out of order. I'll put another quarter in the jukebox.
Go ahead.
The conditional use permit,
Yes.
I meant to ask that, but that went really fast. I couldn't get my transmission in gear. There were questions or issues in the past about uses of residential areas for purposes that are not residential. Does this address that and more? Is this kind of the
So now they have to come through a process to get,
because I saw the monastery
Right.
and the whatever you do with the nuns. I don't know what they call it's a monastery when it's men, and it's
Nunning.
not a nunnery. But you get my drift.
Yes,
Yes.
When people live together for a convent, thank you. When they live together for purposes of their religious faith.
Yes, so for that one, the international zoning code is taking the churches out of the zoning code and making them go through a CUP. So we're gonna be including them in the CUP because if not, we're gonna be discriminating against churches. So this way we have a backup for that.
Very good.
So we also gonna be able to control those churches here, and if we have residents complain and they're getting more traffic and
Right.
residents feel the need that it shouldn't be there, we are able to listen to them and bring it up to you guys.
Well, and what I like about this is that it gives the I guess it goes to planning and zoning and ultimately to us, I would imagine, but it gives us a little bit of discretion as opposed to, a black and white sort of ordinance that is enforceable by someone that may not have that discretion. Okay. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
indulging me with my questions.
And item 9D, again, approval of resolution number 2025-13, suspending the date and rate increase by Texas Gas Service.
Mayor, I want to make a motion to go ahead and approve resolution number 2025-13 to suspend the date and rate increase by Texas Gas Service.
I'll second it.
And, okay, I have motion and second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Bids and contract approval to renew the interlocal agreement between City of Mercedes, County of Hidalgo regarding on-site sewage facilities.
Mayor, I don't know if anybody else has anything, but I reviewed it and I'd like to make the approval to renew the interlocal agreement between the City of Mercedes and the County of Hidalgo regarding the on-site sewage facility.
A motion by Commissioner Martinez. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Dr. Saldana. Questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 11, monthly departmental reports. Who do we call up first, Doc?
See that?
they're looking at each other.
Planning, you got anything good for us? Something we want to know about? I'll give you a good 5 or 6 minutes.
Bring some sunshine to the,
Leave
say
the,
the pulpit.
that'll
but
give
it's
Doc a good 5-10 minutes.
So this month,
there's an uptick in planning permits, right?
yes, we got this past week, we got about 10 new permits for our Valley Ranch Phase 2. So that one is already going. We already finalized 3 subdivisions, Hacienda Olivia Phase 2, Camino Verdad Phase 2, and Stable States. We do have a few project subdivisions that are coming up. We have a meeting tomorrow for 2 different subdivisions, and one of them is going to be annexing approximately like 5 acres. And then we have another subdivision coming up in the Llano Grande area, which is about like a 40-acre project. That one's going to be like around 5 phases. We haven't put it in the report yet because it's still in the proposed stage.
Where's that battery field?
That one's over there by Llano Grande.
No, but I mean, where in the process are they? Are they
That
still...
one, we already got our engineers' comments. We send them back to them. We're just waiting for them to do the revisions.
Okay.
By the way, I don't know what you're doing to get those things in and out faster, but thank you.
Yes.
I got 2 compliments already, so keep up the
Thank
good work.
Mm.
Tell them you had the local flea market come in and
Oh,
take
yes.
the permits.
They
the
already
first
paid the
time ever.
business license.
I got a call from the owner.
Poor tack, man.
Long arm of the law. the tax
Long
man.
All right. So is there a way, and just, I'm not asking you to go do this. I'm just asking if it's available. Like, can we kind of measure the sale of homes in those areas through some kind of process? Because they get a water meter no matter what, right? But it's temporary. Or is there a way to measure if a subdivision is moving with, like, I know Olivia Estates, you can see houses going up and those are being built for somebody. But in some of these other places where they built, 30, 40 homes, are we able to tell that they're selling?
When they're closing.
Most of the time we can tell if it's a contractor or it already has an owner. Most of the time, if it has an owner, by the end of the building process, they would come and ask for the CO, and then the owner would come in and ask for the water meter size and form. And that is how we know they're ready. Someone's moving on and then into the house.
The MLS will give you a quarterly report as well.
So-
On the area.
Right.
For
Mercedes.
the number of closes.
Yeah, and the reason I'm saying is because I noticed more cars parked on the one over by mile 1 or by mile 2 east north. And for a while there, I hadn't seen much movement, but I'm seeing there's cars there. So obviously the properties are selling. So that's why I was asking if there was that. And I like them. I don't know if the MLS is just behind, but I mean, there's times where
Sometimes
I
they're
know for a
behind.
fact somebody's bought 6 or 7 houses and it says we've only sold one.
Yeah, because it's quarterly.
People
Sometimes
based
they
on-
are behind.
Oh, okay.
Go
Okay.
based on COs,
Yeah.
certificate of.
Yeah, I'm not
occupancy.
trying to create more work, but I think maybe, well, I guess it is.
Be good to
Maybe
know.
get to know if it's moving because we get asked a lot about our inventory of homes. And,
selling or not.
yeah, are they selling? Are they not selling by investors? And I think it would be good to tell them, and we could buy from there, maybe later on, break it up into, $200,000 homes or selling a little faster than 350 or vice versa.
Right.
Because right now it seems like the higher end houses are selling a little faster
Yes,
than
Hacienda Olivia is selling faster the Valley Ranch.
the Valley Ranch, right?
Yeah, and that's kind of counterintuitive because you would think that the lower priced homes would sell faster than the higher priced homes. And the other thing, to your point, Mayor, is if you have a development, and I had a question about Cobblestone because I went down there and I think they've built one home there recently that's for sale, but I haven't seen a lot of dirt moving over there, so I kind of wondered about that. But is that like if homes are selling at a certain pace, but you have one development that isn't moving, then at least you can isolate that to that development as opposed to feeling like it's a widespread issue. So I don't know how you track that or follow it, but it would be, I guess we just.
Well, I
about
think
that.
in order, I think helping us both here to create a something to do on this thing is if there's a way to do it, it
Yeah.
would be great.
Yes.
If there isn't, then we got it. But if there is a way to track it without, I think it would be a good idea. Is that all right?
Yeah, so we can also I can create a Google map since we already have our subdivision map, and then I can just add it in there.
You just you're not gonna be able to eat dinner now.
So-
You're gonna be all excited.
Cesar Chavez sí se puede.
Thank you so much, Denise. Any
Thank
other
you.
questions? All right.
Yeah, Mayor,
Thank
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I wanted to see if I could talk to Maureen, please, real quick. Yeah. I don't see our parks director here, though.
No,
Parks
park,
and Training? I just wanted to know, because I was looking at your report, how are we doing as far as the dome is concerned? I was showing some plans on where we want to get to. Obviously, it's going to happen in phases, but I'd like to know how we're doing with the lighting as far as the outside, what's going on with basketball court, those things. I mean, where kind of are we on that?
I know with the lighting, it's all operational. Urban County had given Mondo the green light that it was good to go. He reported it to Mr. Pettis. The lights are on every night. I think the only thing that we need to work on is the timing issue because I think they're staying on a little later than we need to.
Yeah.
But that's something that we need to get. Obviously, I don't know if they need to get an electrician or something we got to figure out. The basketball court, there were some people out there today. I'm not sure. I didn't work my way out there, but I don't know if they started marking it because I know Mondo had gotten a quote on that too, as far as to resurface all of that. And I'm sorry, what was your other item?
No, it's because Mondo had shown me, I guess, some plans, right?
Yes.
That you guys have as far as turning that area into a
Yeah,
sports
we've
complex.
met with the guy that does that what is it, that frisbee golf or something like that.
Yeah.
He was out there measuring it. He said that the dome is a good area to have it. He said he could get like 18 holes easily there. So I know he has the layout and everything. I know he's working with us to where he's providing the service, obviously, because he wants the business, he wants to bring it in, and I think he wants to establish a local business here in Mercedes as to why he wants to get it going off the ground.
Earlier, we had somebody talk about Pony League and Little League.
Pony League, Little League are running smooth.
No, granted, but I'm saying like they're actually getting more calls for tournaments from people, the way I understand it, for people outside. So the plan to turn the Dome into a sports center is going to be big because
Right.
this is something that,
Yeah.
you know, McAllen and Harlingen can showcase. Now we can flex our muscle. And you remember, man, those are teams that are coming in from out of town, so they're going to have to stay at hotels. They're going to have to eat at restaurants. So I just don't want to miss out on that opportunity.
Yeah.
And then the last thing I wanted to talk about is something that I saw that I thought was really awesome, because I think a lot of kids could really use it. I was just hoping if you could kind of expand on this foster grandparent program,
Oh, yeah.
because it was something that I think a lot of kids who maybe don't have two parents in the home could benefit from somebody that's older, a little bit wiser. And so I just kind of, I saw it and I wanted to commend you for it and see if you could speak to it a little bit.
Yeah, the foster grandparent program's been with us for a while. It was even back to when I first started with the city, where we had Miss Cano, and she's still around. She's very involved with the politics and everything. She still comes to this day to
that
come
Mary?
visit me. Yeah, Miss Cano.
No, Albert's grandma.
Albert's
Albert's-
grandma.
oh,
Yeah,
Albert's
his grandma. And,
Okay.
yeah, she was even there at the last food drive and stuff. She's a real nice lady. I got 3 ladies right now: Miss Dina, Miss Cecilia, and Miss Maria.
Yeah.
And I'm actually meeting with the coordinator hopefully next week or the following week so we can discuss their summer schedule. They've been with me for the past 2 years now. And they come in at around 1:30. They help out as far as mentoring the kids, doing one-to-ones with some of the kids that they feel like
Need it.
their goal is with their coordinator, they target 6 kids each, and they try and work with them more on a one-to-one. They'll see where kids need attention or they need something, and they'll do, whether it's arts and crafts, when we do Easter eggs, when, like we just had Easter, they did the Easter eggs, the coloring the eggs and stuff. It's just special activities and stuff. They help out a lot with in the kitchen area, the warming kitchen. They'll help with the food program because we do get the meals in for the kids. They come in at, like I said, at 1:30. They're there till like about 5:30. And then in the summers, that's where I'm going to meet with their caseworker. Basically, they come in and they're there the whole day. They're there from when we open at 8, they're there till 5 o'clock. We do give them a lunch hour and everything and stuff, and they continue. And then it's just their programs are obviously extended a little longer. In the summer, we do get more kids, so they work a lot closer with a lot of our outreach programs that come in. So they'll come in and they'll do, whether it's the arts and crafts, the nutrition programs, and anything else that we might have as far as outreach programs go. So they've been with us, like I said, for 2 years. I did have another couple, Ernie and Miss, I can't remember the lady's name, I'm sorry, but I'm looking to see if I'm going to get them back. Unfortunately, they had a tough year, Ernie and them. They had some health issues and stuff. And actually, unfortunately, I ran into them when we had these recent storms. They came into the Dome for shelter, and they actually caught up with me, and they said that they're trying to get their health back in track and then just to come back in and stuff.
What's the age?
You got to be 55 and older. So
Okay,
believe it
and-
or not, some of us qualify for foster grandparent
Well,
services.
look, I mean,
Sign me up.
in my background. No. Hey, you know what? Look, I have a home health in my background, and a lot of times people, when they retire, they lose the purpose, right? And so maybe what we can do, because a lot of these kids could really use that positive, role model, so to speak. Maybe what we could do is maybe reach out to the school district to see maybe some of the people that are retiring, if they'd be interested in joining the program. Because maybe they can help kids in different capacities and the learning capacity, and just being that positive, person in their life. Sometimes it goes a long way, man, And so I just want to commend you for it. I saw it. I was like, this is an awesome program. Thank you for bringing it here.
Yeah.
And I wish you nothing but the best and success on it, man. Thank you, Moni.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Good. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Library monthly report. Anything good?
The library rocks.
Tell us how many more grants you got this week. Did you pay for the piñata with a grant or?
With friends.
I figured.
And it's funny that you asked about grants, but we did get a grant today.
Surprise, surprise.
So that will be for Jacinto Treviño, Colegio Jacinto
Oh,
Treviño.
great.
Yes, we'll have an permanent display of panels of photos and their history, but that'll be coming sometime in October.
Wow. Have you been keeping in touch with that group that came?
Yes, to an extent, we worked on the grant with Dr. Carlos Cantu and Dr.
Yes.
Derek Garcia. And so we've been working with them on that. And the grant is actually going to go through our friends group, and we'll administer the grant together to get the panels made, put them up, and then have an event that I think we're aiming for a Saturday in October.
I'm sure you already thought about this, but I just want to make sure we close the gap on it. But I would like to see that whole group that was here invited, the family and all that. That would be really nice.
Yes, absolutely.
Well,
yes.
good job.
We intend to have them here for that. So by coincidence, we did get a grant today. That is not all
Alright.
the time. I guess this is the monthly report for March. So that month, our biggest event at that time was Skyfest,
Great
which
job
we
on
did get over 600 people for our first time. Not all at once, but throughout the day they came in, and the staff were the ones that were clicking as people came in and enjoyed the event. I think we're looking at combining it for next time into Skyfest and Easter egg hunt. That way we can
And what?
Easter egg
Easter
hunt.
egg hunt.
Oh, wow.
I think we're gonna try to make it a bit bigger.
Yeah, that'd be
I
great.
know Eddie is slowly taking the reins on events, but
He's excited.
Till they dress you up as a bunny.
so
Awesome.
that was one of our bigger events. The other thing that's been doing well, Dr. Saldana actually went to that one in March, was the Creative Bits Writing Challenge. That one we've been working with Dr. Samuel Garcia. So he's created a nonprofit, Creative Bits Inc. I ended up being on his board, so I'm his secretary for his nonprofit. But we're trying to do things throughout the year. So we're trying to do the writing challenge. We recently did a poetry. We did get a good amount of people for that. The poetry entries, I think we got over 40 entries, and the enterprise is starting to publish those. And then we're going to do a creative writing workshop in July, and then hopefully like a reading challenge in November. But I know Dr. Garcia's goal is to be able to give students scholarships to keep getting them motivated to write, whether it's for, not just for class. I know he's really inspired by Dr. Rolando Hinojosa Smith. So we're trying to get that going and keep that going throughout the year.
Good hero to have.
Yes, yes.
I just wanted to go ahead, Doc.
I noticed that you've made some progress. There was a whole bunch of contracts that we approved in February or March or something like that, with some grants that you got for technology upgrades and infrastructure and things like that.
The things for E-rate?
Right.
Yes. So all of those have been submitted. This week I did get the funding commitment decision letter, but for the internet. So that's been funded again by E-rate. The other ones for the Meraki equipment and the drops and all of those that we approved, I probably won't hear about those if they've gotten approved until July or August.
They all have different timelines, I know. but-
They do. So I'm waiting, but we are currently working on our budget. And I know I sent things to Michael because we do have to cover 15%,
Right.
but that's still better than covering the full 100% to upgrade all that equipment. So I'm hopeful that in July or August, I'll also get a positive funding commitment decision letter that they'll fund that also for us as well. I don't know if there's any other questions.
No, I do want to say, I have heard a report, you give reports on the usage of those quiet rooms.
Oh, yes.
And, well, it finally hit home. My son is part of a program, a doctoral program, and he was like in a pinch for a meeting. And he said, Dad, I'm going to go to the library. He had seen him, and he came back raving about him. He goes, man, Dad, those things are quiet. They're efficient. There's plenty of room. It allowed me to spread everything out. So I guess, you don't get a better compliment than from within, right?
Yes.
So I thought I was pretty proud of him saying that, but I thought I'd pass that on to you. He said it was the atmosphere there was great, and he said there was quite a few people at the library. So thank you for keeping it going. So
Thank you so much. I appreciate that he
Very proud of our
like
library.
that.
yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Finance monthly report.
We have the audit.
Can't get any more report than that.
What else you want?
Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me. So I pretty much reported the sales tax. Sales tax, we're still a little bit under where we're projected for the year, but that should pick up during the summer when, you know, we have more traffic at the outlet mall. And I reported our expenditures already for the quarter. We have been doing an increase on purchases of stuff, you know, that we really need. Right now, we're in a budget freeze, and we're trying to pretty much keep our expenditures to whatever it's completely necessary, which is, you know, water breaks, vehicle, building maintenance, and stuff like that. So
So our sales tax was below projections or below where it was last year?
it's still below from last year. 3% we're under, but it usually happens during
Right,
this
right,
time, and then it'll pick up during the summer. So
When people are out
we'll be-
shopping a little bit more.
yeah.
Yeah, but the projection was for this time or for the end. In other words, it'll catch up to our projection for the end of the year,
For the end
right?
of the year. So at the end of the year, we'll be meeting the goal for the sales tax.
Cinco de Mayo should be good. All right, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Any questions?
No, no.
City Secretary, HR monthly reports. How are we doing? We have a freeze on positions as well, or no?
There's a slight delay on some, but not all.
Why are you smiling? What happened?
He's
Some
excited.
some kind of bad news?
No, it's gonna become in a pair.
Ah, okay.
He didn't repeat.
Repeated.
I don't know. Do you have some questions on my report?
So how many vacancies do we have now?
So right now, we're pretty much at the same, also because we are on the budget freeze for hiring. We are hiring for PD and fire, those that are necessary, but we currently have 4 for PD, 1 part-timer for rec, 1 for planning, 1 for finance, and 2 for public works.
So
Yeah, that's-
FD's full?
FD is completely full.
Congratulations, Chief. Yeah.
I have a question, if I may. What's the process for hiring in all this? Like, is it a certain steps that have to be done, especially when you're talking fire and police? Pretty sure that's a little different from the office. So do we have different protocols for different departments, or how does that work?
So for PD and fire, we advertise all year long. So we have it on the website all year. So people will mail in their applications, send it to me personally, or apply through the website. When I do post, I also do post on Indeed. So we do get them through Indeed, through the website, and also in person. For PD and fire, of course, the chiefs, they will review them. Whatever I get that I see that I screen, I will send to them, and then the chiefs are the ones that do the
Yeah,
hiring.
So that's what I'm saying, though. So it's a little bit more of a process through the fire and PD because the chiefs have to make the approval. And then it
Yes.
goes to you. And Albert, are you there?
Well,
with that,
the
or-
chiefs do the interviewing just so that they know, like, if they're paramedics, if they're certified, if they're TECO certified. So I screen it to make sure that they have all of those certifications, and then I send it over to the chiefs. And then I'll sit in their interviews.
You do.
Yes.
She sits in on all of them
On
to
all of
make
them.
sure we have a standard across the board from department to department.
I'm just trying to make sure that our processes are moving smoothly in order for these hires, whether it's in any other department. I just figured these guys are a little bit different than others because, you know, like you mentioned, there has to be certifications. There has to
Theirs
be
are
certain
different because they
things.
have the certifications. So the chiefs do look that they're TECO certified for PD, and then for fire that they have their certifications in the EMT, paramedics, or through firefighters. So They don't have to be dual certified for fire, but we basically only hire paramedics.
Now, as far as the other departments, are the department heads also involved in the hiring process?
Yes, everybody is. Everybody reviews, and then after I screen them, and then they will tell me, I will send like 10 to each department for a certain position, and then they'll tell me, okay, let's interview these. And then, so I'll call them, and then we set it up. So they do review the resumes.
Mayor, city manager, the reason why I was asking these questions, I recently went to a training and they were talking about the effectiveness of the culture in which the department head is establishing its own culture and its own people, right? So we want to make sure that the department head is comfortable with who's coming into their said department, whether it's in the professional or, I'm sorry, in the private field or in government, whatever the case may be. We want to make sure that the department head is comfortable with who's coming in. Nothing to say that we're not. I just want to make sure that those things are being considered, because after all, it's that person who's to be responsible for the person under him in which they're hiring. So I just was curious if we're applying those practices here.
Yeah, every department head has to go and review. She does the minimum qualifications. They get the package of the total people that applied. They select the interviews. She sets them up. They recommend who they're hiring. I just do a final approval based on their recommendation.
So ultimately, everybody is involved, and the recommendation does come from the department head, who they want to move forward with.
I'm just making sure, because also in the audit, they had mentioned about the hirings. So I just want to make sure that we're doing our part in trying to get the staff facilitated in any department, mind you. That way we can be functioning a whole lot better.
Yes.
Weird question from out of right field, but since you've been standing there, I just thought about this, Jocelyn. How expand our database for vital statistics for birth certificates and all that? And I know some cities can tap into the county network, and they can, if you live in Mercedes but you were born in
It's called
Houston,
remote access.
there you go. I knew that was a fancy word for it. So can we do that, or what is the limitations of if someone moves here from Houston and they were born in Harris County, could they come to City Hall and request a birth certificate?
No.
Okay.
We don't have remote access, and even the cities that do, for example, Wesco, their remote access is a limited birth certificate. So
Okay.
it's the very basic information,
Right,
which
right.
is not really what most people want. They want the full birth certificate,
Sure.
and they use that for traveling or getting their
Okay.
passports.
So the requests we get are from people that are lifelong Mercedes residents and want.
Yes. I
Or
had
they'll
people
send
come from out
somebody.
of state to come and get their birth certificate.
Or they'll send a family member, right? They can send a family member to come get it.
It has to be only
Direct
certain
relative or
direct
whatever.
relative.
I had to do that for my mom's here, and then my dad in Rio Grande City.
Okay.
Perfect.
So real quick, I just want to, 4 PDs and 1 for everybody else. Part-time, public, 1 for public works, and streets is full also, and parks,
Public Works, we have 2 in streets.
2 in streets and 1 in public works. So I'm just
No,
trying to keep.
Public Works is streets.
Oh, okay,
2.
so they're together. Okay, okay.
Yes, 2.
So we have 2 period for public works.
Yes.
Okay. And parks is also there or separate?
No, Parks, we have 1 currently.
1 opening
Yes,
parks?
sorry, I didn't mention that.
Yeah, the reason I'm asking is I know that we gave some raises a couple years in a row. And I know we went through a lot of this at the county as well. And I know that some people say that raises or money or whatever doesn't really keep people, but it looks like it does. So I just wanted to see if we're measuring where we were 3 years ago, 4 years ago. So, yeah, the turnover rate per year. And that's gonna help us come budget time. So I think if you can think about, and if I confused you, call me and I'll explain a little bit better. Basically, I'm just trying to see if our recidivism or actually our turnover has increased or gone down, and if it's gone down, how much and when it started. The reason I'm saying that is I think we're gonna see, because I'll ask Albert every now and then, and he'll tell me, well, 1 opening, 2 opening, and I know before we had 6 openings and 9 openings and 7 openings. So that's kind of what I'm after. That's the reason I was asking those questions. Any other questions? All right, thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great information.
Fire department, chief, anything good? My wife called me, told me there was a fire coming from Donna and Wessico this way, and
I saw something, a new vehicle that I don't think I'd seen before, or at least maybe I wasn't paying attention. If it's a brush truck, it sure is fancy.
What color is it?
Red.
Not sure where you saw this one. A
It-
brush
it-
truck is
it- it-
expected probably in the next 2 weeks.
Okay, so you haven't gotten it yet.
So yeah, it
Well,
was
maybe
probably
it's
a
something I
neighbor-
hadn't seen, but
it
it
was
was right
probably
in
a-
front of HEB. It was headed back to the station down at Algo.
Okay, maybe one Mr. Pettis is delivering to our department.
Not.
I don't
No, so
know.
on the
Look,
fire department,
8 minutes response time, good.
8 minutes on dispatch to arrival, and I think we're at 3 minutes out of the chute on EMS. Call volume's been pretty steady, just like any other month. Brush truck is still pending, probably within the next 2 weeks. We'll get that going. We're finalizing all the equipment that we're gonna place on it. Our ambulance, probably another couple weeks. We're still working on that one. Getting reimbursements back from our border zone grant already that we purchased our command truck and our high profile, our Polaris. Hurricane season's around the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's go back to the March floods. We're still in it as far as on the recovery side. All our data has been submitted to TDM. On the public assistance side, on individual side, which is for the public, for them, as you guys probably do know, our governor just sent a letter to the president requesting for them to move on that. So it's just pretty much sitting down and waiting. If that gets activated, then we'll come back and we'll probably set up shop throughout our county for the process on the assistance, either through SBA or through the FEMA assistance. So we're still waiting on that. On the public side, we submitted all our data. I don't have those numbers, but I think we're probably over 1.5 million on the city side as far as infrastructure, manpower, and all that. What helped us out is Real Delta. We engaged with an engineer to identify roadways, bridges, manholes, you name it, that got damaged during the storm. So they put a cost to that, and we got some drone footage and we submitted the package. So it took us probably a good 4 weeks to get that together, but we submitted the entire
And you said that includes roads as well, right?
roadways that were identified. Roadways, you name it, we did it.
I saw them running up and down city streets, and I wondered what they were doing.
Yeah,
so
so
that's
they
probably
were
what they were
they were
doing.
tasked to do that assignment, to
Okay.
identify and to put a price tag to it.
Did you guys also include 10th Street past where the new Dollar General's at? Because
Yes,
that
yes,
already
all
took
that
a
area
bad
was,
hit
was
pretty
placed.
bad.
Yes, there was a whole bunch of different areas, but one of that areas was placed. Yes.
what about mile 2? I know that's not ours, but have we notified anybody about that? Anybody
2
in
and
the state
what?
or where?
About 2
Well, out
west.
there by the Child Center, it got pretty nasty, bro. But I know that's not us. so-
Okay, that was TxDOT was reporting that one. That was
Okay.
the TxDOT. Northwood Expressway on Mile 2 East.
Yeah, that was the one that was underwater and it created some pretty bad holes, man, around that area. And there's been some people that have been asking, but I'm telling them, hey, that's not, our road, right? That's TxDOT. So.
So on the public side, I looked at the numbers yesterday, which the threshold is 54 million. I think for this region, we're over 100 million. And yeah, so it's up there. Okay, so a lot of it has to be filtered through FEMA and stuff like that. But I think what helped us out was the drainage district. They identified a lot of areas that were impacted throughout the region. So as far as numbers that are inputted, so it's just a sitting and waiting to see if we
So
get that.
city manager, basically, as soon as, and the way I understand it, as soon as the president makes his declaration or he makes it official, then we can expect some sort
No,
of.
so this is, so
funding.
there's two sides, remember, there's an individual assistance and
Okay.
there's a public assistance, okay?
Okay.
So right now, we submitted both already. The individual assistance is for the person that they got impacted the house, okay? So once the president says yes, they release those funds, then they come in and help out the actual community. On the public assistance, that's still in the process. We submitted our data, so now FEMA has to come in and now they have to do all the paperwork. They have to make sure that we have our pre-established contracts, make sure we have everything in place, okay? So that's where we're at on the public assistance. And there's still a lot of cities that are still submitting their data to TDM.
So is there anything that you need from our citizens or anything outside of what we've already put out?
No, we
there?
could still keep on pushing if they have any pictures, documentation, they could still upload it into that ISTAT. It's still live.
Maybe Albert, we can put a PSA together and.
So I believe we
something
did
like
push
that.
one probably about 2 days ago on our social media. If you had any damages from the March 26 floods,
Yeah, but I think it's
Media's
important that
been-
you come out as the emergency manager and.
The media's been putting it out also. The media's
Yeah.
been putting it out hard, man.
Well, we need to, man, because I mean, once this thing gets rolling, I don't want anybody to be left behind. I mean, if we've done all our due diligence trying to inform the public, you know, we can only go so
so
far.
the damage assessment, staff out on boots on the
They
ground.
actually went door to door.
No, yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
so I think we had a good turnout on our staff and the people that assisted us in providing that data for TDM. So it was a pretty good.
I don't know if we'll be involved with it but at some point, I guess we extended the emergency declaration 30 days, and I don't know. I know y'all are still in recovery phase, but at some point, you either have or you will do this after action sort of sit down where once we've got all of the craziness sort of settled out, where we can sit down and say, okay, what worked, what
Yeah, so
didn't.
we did our hot wash a couple weeks right after it,
Never
but we
want
are
politicians at a hot
Right.
yeah. So we are planning on sitting down with staff and I could bring a presentation to council
Yes.
probably
Yeah,
in the
that
next
would be-
couple weeks.
I mean, more than anything, I just want to know what we can do, especially with budget around the corner, right? What we can do, what we need that can help us avoid maybe some of the things that we encountered that day or those days that followed.
So like I say, we've been engaged with Mr. Pettis and with PR and with our public works, that we met with Precinct 1 and Drainage District on some topics that we wanted to bring up. So we are engaged in that. We've been actively out on the streets, looking at different areas on the way the water flows, that we learned over the past couple of weeks. Looking at some GIS mappings that we came across and stuff like that. So we're actually out there. I know last week myself and Public Works Director were out there for like 2 days, just driving around, just identifying different areas how we can improve our response. So
Yeah,
No,
I-
that's it.
I got a couple of things. Where are we on iPause?
I paused the one I'm meeting with me. Yes, we're working on that.
A
Mayor.
month ago?
Yes, sir.
All right, good. He's gone for a week, so we'll have to
Yes.
wait another week. But, anyway, but you can call him
Yes.
and have a meeting over the phone with him. The other one is pre-position contracts, Chief. And by the way, I'm kind of joking with the chief because he does a fantastic job, but this iPause thing has been on my mind for the last 4 years. Pre-position contracts, so that we're not hiring somebody last minute. Same thing with the pumps. That's the reason I know I brought that up some years back also about pre-position contracts, because when we're flooding, I know that it's easy to say, well, we'll rely on our neighbors, right? But if we're flooding, they're probably flooding too. Yeah. So I really think that, and I know it costs a little bit of money, but I think a pre-position contract is a good idea.
Yes.
Also, the other one is on the GPSing. I know we're in a freeze right now, and rightfully so, especially with the damage that we have. We don't know if we're going to get money or not, so we may end up having to use that money for that.
Yes.
But as soon as the freeze is up, I really think that we need to get our drainage GPSed as well. That was a brain fart on my part, obviously, because that was my whole reason behind that group. So somehow or another, we ended up just doing water and sewer. I thought it was drainage. So I think we need to get to drainage, because that's why I kept saying, remember I kept saying, well, when does it tie into the irrigation, to the drainage district one? Because the drainage district has theirs. And I think the goal should be for us to have our GPS, our drainage GPS as well, showing the size, the flow, where it connects. Because right now, if you go on to, and you could do this for the last 3 years, you go on to the drainage district and you can pull up the flows and the eaves and even where the eddies are and all that stuff. And we'd like to connect to that. So the only way to do that is to do our GS mapping. That's more for Albert than you, but it would be important for you
So
to push it.
there's a good mapping for stormwater that we came across, and I'm not sure who the engineer that did it, but it's a GIS mapping for stormwater that we've been using over the past couple of weeks that I haven't seen. I believe it was Mr. Ramirez had worked on it. We came across that, so I could share it with you.
Yeah.
And it's an actual and it's helped us out on the Collier Park pump. On the Collier Park issue, we identified an additional line that was going towards
We didn't even know it was there.
we didn't even
No, they
know
thought
it was
a
there.
wall. They thought it stopped.
Yeah, so there's actually two large pipes, and one of them we identified that had a good clog in it. That actually comes from the Pizza Hut Dairy Queen area.
Yep. Yep.
So that GIS mapping did, and I could share with you. It's actually been helping us out lately. So
Yeah. So maybe instead of getting it done, we can pay to have it reformatted and uploaded to where it's acceptable to the one that
Okay.
irrigate. It would be huge to know the drain, where it connects or doesn't connect to the drainage district.
We
wonder where it
found that out
flows.
through the drainage district.
we found that out through the GIS map and by us going and
Saying, "Hey,
climbing
what's
in
this?"
manholes and
GIS map, the
the one that we
through the
I
same-
came across. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, so it shows that there's
Found
two
it on the
lines
desk.
on 4th Street on the curve. That shows that there's two lines running in where that improvement they're doing. We're right off on just west of it, closer. There's
And
an
that all
additional
dumps
one.
into that huge box over there by the
Correct.
pump.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
that one goes straight to that box, and it's not sure the size.
Looks like it's 24-inch at least.
Yeah, it's a big box.
It's
and
bigger than 24.
and it's one of the main ones that comes to the
There's a
actual
bigger
color.
one, and then there's a smaller one. I don't know.
It's the bigger one. It's
the bigger one,
The bigger
okay.
one. That's the one that had the clog.
Wow.
And I guess finally, did we buy the camera yet? No.
And we'll be bringing pre-established contracts for debris removal, probably to commission before hurricane season, so we could have that in place for this hurricane season.
And then I know that Ruben, Dr. Saldana brought up the hot wash, and I think it's also real important that somebody from finance be available to us during the storm the whole time, because if not, we can get ourselves in a real jam. So finance needs to be a major part of the response. That is legal, and finance have to be part just as much as public works.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it, Chief.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir.
And lastly, IT monthly report.
So one of the big projects that finally got finished out recently was the city website. That has been going since the beginning of April. It has been traffic. We're trying to get more people to do the subscription. So been working with Eddie, that way we can do some broadcasting to our social medias. That way they can start signing up for the subscriptions on that front. That way, whenever there's any events, water breaks, service disruptions, we have that avenue to be able to send that information out to the residents. We're currently trying to still convert a lot of the PDFs that we have on the website. That way we can convert them into the forms section of the forms module of it. One of the things that we primarily did first out of the go was we swapped from our Google forms of our applications and then added it to the actual GovStack side of it.
Well done. Look at there.
This is really cool. I was looking at it right here.
And so it's been working out really well for our application process with HR. She's receiving those applications. I haven't seen any messages in regards to things to be added, but I do have that option available if someone does want to report something that might be missing on the website. So as we are continuing moving forward, I know I'm still Juan and myself are still looking at any avenues we can improve it anyway. So residents that are out there, I'm more than welcome to get some feedback. That way we can always improve it.
Fortified firewall so we don't get hijacked by someone in South America.
Yes, actually, that's one of the reasons why we moved away from the old platform, because that platform was not secure. So this one has better security on top of what we were doing previously as well.
So I just want to say real quick that the professionalism of our office here has increased tremendously. The website, the videos on, my wife even commented on how much nicer it is. So thank you for all your efforts. I don't know what all went into it, but I'm sure it was a lot of work and some money. But thank you. It's a really nice. I think the citizens deserve it, and I think they're finally getting what what they deserve. So thank you for this.
Do you have a way of tracking traffic on there, views and
Yes.
downloads and all of that kind of stuff? And maybe that can get,
Added on.
yeah, be part of your report too.
I can do
So
that.
we got an idea of how many, you know, what the interactivity between the public and our online information is.
Right. No, I can add it for the next monthly report.
Oh, now that you said that, do we, how many followers do we have on Facebook? Wow, not bad. Okay. I'll keep my mouth shut then. Good job.
So we still, I know that's one thing that we still want to keep on pushing out is,
Yes.
so we have our website to gain subscriptions, and then we also have on that the website, so there's a community calendar, so it's open to the public, as we still approve what is being placed on the calendar, but if there's any little events going down that has already been serviced on, like in vendor wise or permit wise, they can go in and submit their own event onto our calendar. That way we can start filling that thing up, and it'll get more information out there to not just our local residents, but also to the outside world. And then I know you mentioned the IPOS thing. We're going to start doing a real big push on doing the switch to our mass notification on the civic clerk side of it. Come October, we're going to try to transition, or we're going to transition to that mass notification. We're going to move away from the code red. And so we'll have two avenues, one section that has emergency notices, and then one section for general notices. That way we can broadcast that information. So we do have
And it uses all the formats,
yes,
phone, text,
yes, sir.
email. Great.
Yes, sir. I know it does have the integration with iPause, so as soon as we get that squared away, we can integrate into that
I don't
as
know
well.
what I'm signed up for, but I got a whole bunch of them. They were calling me, texting me. It was driving me crazy, to tell you the truth. But you know, I asked for it, so I got it. And,
But I mean, just in case anybody's listening, it's only for that specific storm. So
right.
you would have gotten that from us or the National Weather Service regardless. Yeah, so it's not like you're getting it just because you're a part of the Mercedes one. The National Weather Service, because of all the jams up that they've gotten into, they put them out like every time it changes. So.
Yes. And the beauty of it too is if, let's say there's a water break and only in one specific
Yep,
subdivision, we could geofence that area and only those residents.
Oh, is that all part of Civic Serve?
Yes.
Oh, wow, that's great.
That'll be part of it.
So it's almost like Code Red altogether.
Yes.
Oh, awesome, man.
Yeah, and
Great.
it was surprisingly enough, it's cheaper. The two modules together was surprisingly cheaper than Code Red on its own.
Fantastic. Thank you for that.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Great information.
Yep, moving on to executive session.
Anyone Public Works?
I'm sorry. Oh, Public Works. Tom, you think you were getting away? Or
He was starting to.
actually, they didn't.
Faces over.
Somebody left you out, bro. No, there's nothing here on you.
I thought PD too.
Nothing here.
Is there I didn't read anything on public.
So,
No te vas a ir tan santito, Tom.
Almost got it.
Yeah. Mayor, Commissioners, for the last 2.5 weeks, we've been working very diligently, getting all of our equipment, our backhoes, all of our pumps maintenanced, getting them ready for just any major rain event. We just purchased, or we're purchasing right now, some hoses for all of our pumps, brand new hoses. The ones that we had were just very beaten up by the weather elements. So we're all getting brand new hoses. We've PM'd all of our pumps, all of our portable pumps, the backhoes, our dump trucks. So we're getting
Ready.
everything in order.
You ready?
Yes, sir. I would say so.
Solo.
So we're also working on a project right here on 17th and Florida. We're doing a patch job that was in desperate need of getting repaired. It's long overdue. It's been like
Don't
maybe a year
forget
and a
the cement because I get a call all the time.
The
about-
curb is done. Yes, sir.
Okay,
The curb
all
is
right.
done. We're also working on another patch job on 11th Street, 1208 11th Street. We're doing that as well. And hopefully we'll wrap it up by the end of the week as well.
Now, so there's several alleyway jobs that you guys did that y'all are having to go back,
Circle
like
around,
even
yes, sir.
back as December's, and I've been telling them. I know that you guys are super backlogged. Is that something that y'all have them listed somewhere and you're gonna go back and fill them?
Yes, we do. Mr. Perez and I, we've been reviewing them quite
Okay.
often, so we're circling back as well.
Honestly, the people understand. We've been telling them there was water break after water break. I mean, there was just one break after another. And if y'all would have been spending time waiting for it to dry, because you wouldn't get to the next one. I just wanted to make sure, I'm assuring them that you guys will come back.
Yes, sir, we are. We're slowly but surely catching up. So we are seeing the light at the end of the tunnel.
And then I think, I really think you need to, well, I know now I'm kind of leaning over into management, so I'll say it to Albert so I don't get in trouble. But so I really think the camera is super important to us. I don't think they're that much, right? And I think it'll help us out a lot. Like I know we've been struggling with that daggum thing over there and Dairy Queen and
Yes, sir.
and Pizza Hut since forever. And I know that would help. And the other one is in seeing what you all went through during the storm. This last one is a grappling arm or whatever they use nowadays.
grappler,
That was
yes,
in
sir.
my day. It was a grapple arm. I don't know if they still use that, but that'll help us out because I guess we're letting the grass grow. Not us, somebody else. I'm not mentioning any names, but those reeds are just getting really huge. And the carrizo, I've never seen that much
cattails as well.
carrizo down here. It's everywhere.
Yes, sir.
So when they're cutting that carrizo, I'm just saying for the public, it just piles up. And I think the grappling arm, unless there's something better now.
No, we use the grappler, sir. Yes, sir. It helps
Is
out
that an
tremendously.
expensive item? What does something like that cost more or less? I guess to make sure.
We're looking at maybe like $95,000.
$95,000
Just for the grappler itself.
Just
But
for
the
the
backhoe,
arm?
the grab. Oh, not for the arm. Just the arm is
Yeah,
like
I'm not
40.
telling you to buy a backhoe,
The
man.
arm is like $35,000, $36,000.
Okay.
It's still up there.
That's a big difference, bro.
Oh yeah, we'll
Start with that.
Well,
He's trying to get
consider
a tractor out of
Okay,
it. Now I
I'm going
know
for the
why
whole
he-
backhoe.
Now you know why I
Now
say
I
no.
know why he has such a hard time, man.
Yeah.
Pues
Gotta
sí me
start
pre-
big, Mayor.
Yeah,
Gotta-
there you go.
That's for the
Si
sky.
saben,
Yes,
si saben
indeed.
cómo me,
On some of the other road improvements.
saben cómo me
Uh,
pongo
we'll
pa'
do,
que me-
uh,
In town.
In town. Well, let's back up a little bit. Connection. We're once again we're going back to Orange Street. We're working on that canal on off Orange.
No, but I mean the roads, although Warren Street is one.
Right, off the canals, we're just doing a lot of potholes. As Mr. Avila and I, we're trying to concentrate on Virginia Street as well right now, currently.
Are we
Trying.
looking at a paver anytime soon? I know that was in the works. Yeah. I mean, we're gonna pay 95. We might as well go for the paver now.
Yeah, so, Mr. Bettis and Mr. Avila, they're working pretty hard trying to get that
That's
project.
English for not my problem.
So,
No, I just want to make sure
Not my
because
favorite.
I know some of the jobs we can definitely patch up and
yes, sir.
it'll make the difference in the long run. So, but on the other note, I want to thank you for what you did over there on mile 1 and 10th. That's pretty good. Although I think we still need to do some curb scraping there
Yes, sir.
near the inlet. But other than that, I want to thank you for that. Some people were thankful for it as well.
Well, and now that you say that, what I did notice is the patchwork is a lot better. So I don't know what's happening or what y'all are doing different or if it's different.
They're using machinery, right? Not like the good old days when we used to back the truck up. Okay.
Yeah, we're just compacting it a little bit.
Okay, well,
Longer.
keep doing it because it looks a lot
Yes, sir.
better. So, all right, anybody else?
On
Go ahead, Doc.
on mile, I know there's some work that's been done by the drainage district, no, irrigation district on mile 1.5 east over by Mockingbird and
Yes, sir.
Oak and that little neighborhood area in there that really something's askew over there because it didn't really drain as well as probably it could have. But what's happening over there? I know that's not our ditch, but
Last week, the irrigation district
we,
took
we
it,
get blamed for everything, so we might as well talk about
to
it.
certain talks with the irrigation district, they cleaned it out, a portion of it. We're still lacking one side of it, which is the residential side by Mockingbird.
But that's because they encroached, no?
That is correct. Yes, sir. There's
They
5
built
houses
all
that
the way to the
encroached.
ditch. So you can't get over there on that side, and the only way to do it is knock down their fences.
Knock it down.
Yep, it's the only way.
Absolutely. That's
So we're gonna work with them to see if we need to push them on, removing the fencing where they encroached.
Uh-huh.
But I don't know who needs to take the lead. That's a legal question. I would think it's their easement. They would take the lead, but apparently they haven't done anything about it. And now we're pushing hard. So they went and cleaned. PR's been working with them on that. So they were quick to move on it on the side they can get to, but the other side, it's,
So is it too steep for our, maybe we can do an MOU and use our automatic or whatever that
The,
Far across.
no, it's too far across.
You won't reach.
There's a lot of standing water.
There's water.
Still,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Does
So,
that look like it's gonna help?
oh,
much?
definitely. Yes, what they've done,
Yes.
it will definitely help.
Oh, it's a huge difference.
Oh, yes, sir,
Yeah, a
indeed.
huge difference.
Yes, sir. Now,
It looks like they made it a little wider, like they opened it up a little bit more. They didn't
well,
say
anytime they
clear the
remove
debris.
some of the cattails and some of the vegetation,
You know, and we've got, they did such a good job of clearing out that ditch over there in Florida, you know, and here we go again. You know, it's just like,
yes,
you know, you clean out your garage and somebody comes and fills it up with more stuff. And so we got tires piled up in that ditch again.
The police chief is next on here.
yes,
We
sir.
need cameras. We need cameras.
Yep, we need
We do.
cameras.
Definitely we
It's
need
almost
cameras.
like, oh, look, the city was nice enough to clean this ditch and now we can fill it up with tires again.
Yes, indeed. Speaking of Mockingbird, we've cleaned the gully on Mockingbird, and we've now transitioned to mile 1.5. So we're cleaning it from the old 83 all the way to the frontage. So that's
Last time we cleaned that ditch, we picked up over 42 tires. In that one time.
yeah.
It looked wider to me. Now I know why. 42 tires wider.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So,
quite a bit.
how,
I don't know who's throwing tires in there, but I would love to find out.
well, they've
Well,
done
I
a pretty
think,
good job.
You and I
got
both-
an idea. I mean, 42 tires, you're gonna get it from
Tire shop.
somewhere, and there's only one place or a few places with a lot of tires. I can look
Yes,
at.
sir.
I mean, we got to start there, man.
So I don't know. I don't know if. Well, I guess once we're done with him, we can get the chief up here from the police chief. We're good to go.
The only thing I mentioned public works related to is, and I mentioned this to the city, to you, Mr. Pettis, but I thought we did a great job providing of options for people to get rid of their debris and some of the stuff that they had to get rid of. But at some point you got to draw the line, and that's at no added expense to the residents. They still pay their $5 a month for bulk, right? But when we call Waste Management and we tell them, oh, can you come pick up another 30 containers of debris? They send us a bill.
Yes, sir, they do.
They don't do that for free.
That's correct.
And I'd like to know, not necessarily right now, but I'd like us to be able to capture some of those kind of costs at some point so that we could get an idea how that is, because and so we can communicate that so that we can say, look, here's what it costs us, and we ate it, okay, just so that we would be able to provide that service. And then the other thing is that we still have people that are cleaning up and doing repairs and things like that. And so if they start throwing building materials out there, I talked to you, maybe we do 1 or 2 sort of cleanup days or something like that, so that we have some kind of an option for people, but it's not one of these bins out there that we set out there and then 90% of the stuff that gets thrown in it isn't even from the city of Mercedes. It's from people that are driving in from out of town to dump
I think
stuff
we have
in
one
there.
this weekend, right? There's
Yes, sir, we do.
We have a citywide.
Citywide this weekend.
Okay.
And I know you guys do a good job of checking, making sure, they're from here and all that.
Yes, sir, we do. We go around pretty
So will they be accepting, should somebody, like, say, come up with that kind of material, like, if they're,
sheetrock, some brush,
They got a
everything
little
except for
area.
cement. Yeah. No cement.
Brush and trash.
Yes, sir.
So, chief and with Tom there. So I don't know who does it now. This tire thing has been a problem forever, and part of it is there's no place for people. And I know I'm preaching to the choir, so I'm talking to all of us here. The problem with the tire issue is that there's nothing to do with those tires. Nobody wants them. There's nobody buying them. Everybody says, "Why don't we buy them?" But you have to pay for people to come get them, and then they're full too. So once you pick them up, our dump sites are full of tires, right?
Yes, sir.
But nonetheless, we still have to put the at the end of the day, the people who are getting money to do something for those tires are the tire shop owners. Okay. So I don't know if FAR still does it. FAR used to be the guest speakers at Urban County back in the day. It's not Urban County, it's wherever they discuss public work stuff, but they used to do it at South Padre Island. It was a big thing back when I was emergency manager. And FAR had a like award-winning system in place. We tried to do it countywide. I was the emergency manager. I couldn't get any traction. But at the end of the day, what they do is every tire shop is registered. And I don't know, I know we've had this discussion before. By law, if somebody's carrying more than 6 tires or whatever it is, I don't know what it is, they have to have a manifest of where it's going. They can't just carry 20 tires in the back of their truck and drive through town. They have to have a manifest where they're taking it. So I would suggest that maybe working together, you guys can maybe get with FAR, see if they're still doing it. I can't remember the young lady's name, but it was a young lady in charge of it back then in FAR. I'm talking about 20 years ago. And so they were doing it then. And so basically, and each tire shop has to have a marking whenever they take that tire off within a certain amount of time. They have to mark that tire either with a hole or mark it, because what they do is they'll save them in the back and somebody will come and give them $25 for the pile of tires, because a lot of them are still good in their mind. And so those people throw away the tires that they don't use and keep the ones that they do. The tire shop owners are just selling it to them. So if we make them put a hole in that tire, right? If they're going to resell it, that's fine. But if they're not, if they're going to pile it up and we make them put a big old hole in it, that tire's no good to nobody. Nobody's going to come pay them $50 for the pile of tires. So I don't know what you all, that's just that's just something that I've seen in the past. I'm not saying to do that. But at the end of the day, the tire shop owners are the ones that are getting paid, and they have a responsibility to get those tires to point Z.
Right.
And they're not. So
what we did last time, sir, I'm sorry. I know Mr. Perez was familiar with this. We did arrest one individual sometime back, remember, with the large tires. So after that day, what we did was we followed up at every tire shop and identified the owner's property with their point of contact and whatnot, and who their driver is that's supposed to show up and take those trailers wherever it gets disposed of. And I know the feedback that we had gotten, I'm not saying this is a solution by all means, but I know that most of the tire shops were saying, well, back then, they used to provide containers for us to throw the tires or whatnot. I don't know how true that is. I don't think that happened when I was here, but most of them did say that they used to provide, the city provided containers for them just to dump the tires there outside.
So there's several factors that are not adding up. First of all, every resident can put 4 tires in their front of their house every month, and they'll get picked up. So there's no reason why residents are dumping. There's no reason why residents have to pay the tire shop to get rid of them. It's the tire shops dumping them. Okay, so we updated the ordinance. Now they're required to mark them with some kind of marker. Each one is different for every tire shop. We also changed the ordinance, right, to the guys that are transporting tires have to have a permit and a manifest.
that's a law. That's a state law.
So now we're enforcing it, right? And so I don't know where we are with validating and verifying with every tire shop. The problem is the tire shop. It's not
So
the
most of the
people.
tires that we have found, I'm sorry to interrupt, sir, but they have been marked. They're usually marked tires, so it does come back from the tire shops.
But I'm telling you, you guys you're right for the most part. It's not the people. The people aren't dumping the tires. They may to save the $5, but they're gonna dump 3 or 4 tires, and that's the most that they're gonna dump. The issue is the tire shops are charging the $5. They're piling up the tires and they're selling the pile of tires to a third-party vendor. That guy is not being policed.
Yes.
Nor is he being looked at, because he's sliding through. The only way you're gonna get him is catching him on the road and telling the officers that I don't know what the legalities are. I think they have a right to stop them and inspect them for a load, just like an 18-wheeler.
But now they have to have a permit.
Yeah, they have to. They have to have a manifest that says where they're taking it.
And a permit from us.
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine too. But if we're not policing that, and the only way to police that is, and in my opinion, I don't know if we can force them to do it, because there may be a way for them to make money, is if those tires are no longer any good to those people that are picking them up. These guys right here are the ones that are making money. They're giving the guy $50 for the pile of tires, and then they're selling each tire that they still find good for $10, $15, and making $500 on the sale. And that guy is not being policed.
What
And
they don't use ends up on Florida.
that's correct. But if we put holes in those tires, if we force them to put a hole and make those tires no good, you want to operate Mercedes, this is the guy you got to operate. We'll get rid of those tires, but it'll only be in Mercedes. We've got to get everybody around us to buy into the. So I would check the legalities of it. I'm with the city manager about. We obviously need to put a camera. We know there's a place they're dumping, but we don't have enough cameras, and we need to look at that for this budget year.
Even a game cam, you got trees around there. I mean,
They steal the game cams.
They steal the
steal
game
them all the
cams,
time, bro.
but we are looking at something we're gonna purchase with
Okay,
the
good.
forfeiture money. Yes, I know Mr. PR had gotten with me about that. Some built-in Wi-Fi type
Okay,
of camera that we can put in trees, maybe and stuff like that. But he did get with me on that. So we're
How,
looking
how
into
are we doing as far as in that area lighting? Because if they're dumping those tires, they're doing it at the dead of night, man. So I mean, is there enough lighting? If you were to
Those
pass
are-
by, would you be able to see it?
What, on the cameras or where?
No, I'm talking about there in Florida.
it. It's dark. Yeah, it's dark.
You see what I mean? And mind you, not to tie one to the other, but then you got the tagging right across the way. You see my point?
Yeah.
So a lot of that, if you can't even see that it's going on, how are you going to report it? You can put all the cameras you want, but you can't even see jack. How are you going to
No,
get
the
it?
the cameras will.
Infrared.
The
Yeah.
cameras will.
Yeah.
catch
If I
it
may,
and-
Michael, do you want to elaborate a little bit on the cameras?
No. I'm just no wait. I'm just trying to say, man, like you want to know who's dumping it, right?
Yes, sir.
They're not doing it during the day,
Right.
so they're going at night, and you got these cameras. I mean, you have to have some sort of lighting too to be able to have more clear vision.
So the way those cameras work is, and they're actually better for that. If you aim them towards where they're doing it, they'll turn on. You can have them turn on in the patrol unit, or you can have them turn on whenever they see motion. And actually, a dark area, and I'm not saying dark is good, but a dark area actually works best in this scenario because
Okay.
they're gonna get told, hey, there's somebody there right now, because the camera just did
Yeah.
infrared and caught them, and there's motion. The problem is it costs money. That's the issue.
So, what Commissioner Martinez actually, there was something that happened recently where we had to pull camera footage from our perimeter south camera on the library. They were looking for something that happened across the street. Unfortunately, there's very little lighting on that street right there on 5th and Ohio. So the camera, even though it's really designated, even if it has the night vision, is designated. It's a fisheye camera. So I mean, granted, there's better cameras that can have better clarity, but at least in that case, I feel like the lighting actually might be also a big detriment to, or not detriment, deterrence for a lot of these things. And I know there's a lot of locations here within the city that do need better lighting. I know one of the things that we can do with that lighting is if we install them ourselves, we can have the opportunity to put some cameras on those taps
poles,
and set up that.
And that's a hit and run accident that he's talking about. We went back to the entire footage and you can't see. So you'll just see the red lights of a car pass by, but you can't see.
just right here.
And look, and he's right, because I mean, if we have an area that's lit, I mean, I wish I could say it's going to stop it altogether. It may not entirely, but they'll second guess whether they're going to do it or not. If you go down that area right now, it's no wonder that it's tagged. I mean, shit, you got all the time you need. You know what I mean? So I'm just curious if that would also help in whatever we're going to do in order to catch these people that are doing it. But I agree. I mean, it's got to be the tire shops. So we pulled out a boatload of tires out in that area, and I mean, not everybody in Mercedes is dumping at that one site. So I'm pretty sure it's coming from one specific shop because they tend to use it again and again. And we pulled tires out of there and then mind you, we didn't get everything. I think we only got, maybe a fraction of everything that was thrown there. So I was just curious on the lighting part.
Yes, sir. No, I mean, again, my recommendation, so it doesn't get lost here, is I think we need to come up with a protocol. And Albert, from what Mr. Pettis is saying, it sounds like we're well on our way.
We're headed that way.
We just need to close that loop. And the only way to close that loop is to identify those, or we say, if you're gonna sell tires to somebody, here's your manifest that said you took in 50 tires this month. Who did you sell those 50 tires to? Where are they? Show me the receipt where you turned them in. No, I sold them to Oscar Montoya. Okay, no problem. I need to know, because they do it at
Yeah, that's how we
junkyards.
cut the other
Yeah.
tire shop guy, asking that.
Yeah.
specifically they couldn't provide.
Perfect.
So.
Yeah.
So do they have to keep records of who they sell those things to?
Supposed to have them.
Yes.
And if they don't, do we cite them?
Yeah,
for not
code
having it?
enforcement does the follow up at the tire shops, and
Okay.
he asks for the receipts of who it is that's selling the tires.
Okay.
Pobrecito se les mandas a Bernie.
All right, thank you guys. Appreciate it, man.
Yes, sir.
Well, Chief, while you're up here, you got anything good for us, Chief?
Well, I just wanted to update real quick on most of the events that the PD is doing, the ones that they've been involved in. Recently, I know that we partnered up with the Little League. I wanted to highlight on that only because a large part of the Mercedes hangs out at the Little League Park, and I've been talking to the parents and everything out there. What we decided to do for the Little League Park from the PD side is really help on the fundraising part of it, and also trying to keep as much as we can on the players here in Mercedes. When I had met with Little League, apparently most of the problems were people were leaving to Westaco. So for us, we wanted to provide more presence in the parks. We got some sponsorships for them, and we worked in a grand opening ceremony for them. We did get our DA involved, our municipal judge, and both of their officers helped out financially with for the children. It's to ultimately get them better equipment and things like that. We do it for a lot of entities in the city, so I felt like it was important. It's more for the children. We also help with their concession products, stuff like that, just to give people the better experience while they're there and wanting to keep the children here. And then I also reached out to MISD. This came after a follow-up conversation that we met with somebody so that we can probably got with one of the coaches so that we can try to get the players from MISD closer to the Little League so that the children can foresee growing up, wanting to play for obviously their high school here, on their colors. That's one of the things we did. The other things is another one of the events that we helped out with was obviously the fishing tournament recently. This is where like in these two events, we put our ATVs to work, and they're very mobile. So like at the Little League Park where we're there, we've caught people with loud music, speeding, people at the levees, driving around recklessly. So that while the officers are there, still, giving presence to the Little League Park, it helps because they get to enforce those type of calls, right? At the fishing tournament, we used our ATVs as well. It was a pretty good event for those of us that can fish. It was a good event. Well, for those of there might be some people in the crowd. I'm not sure, but it was a good turnout. And events like that, you usually get people's feedback, and you come back and you meet with the team, and they usually tackle on some of these things. Yes, sir.
I'm sorry. I'm just because you're touching base on this, right?
Mhm.
I think we're going to change from code red and all, but is there a way that we can start taking information from people, or maybe some form of survey as far as what they're seeing, what they're noticing? We just talked about tires, but I think the only thing that's going to help us in eradicating this problem is the public, right? Because we need the public's help. So I'm glad that you're doing all these things out there in the public, but how can we get them to in turn trust in us and give you the information so we can catch these people that are doing these different things?
Yeah.
I mean, is there a way that we can, get them signed up for, I think we're going to change the program, right? From code red. So whatever we get, is there a way that we can do those drives at these different functions so we can get people signed up? Because the only way we're going to stop a lot of the stuff that's going on is the people, now that they're gaining the trust of the PD, we need them to inform us as to what's going on.
You can, and we did talk about that. We had a meeting with the staff, and it was really about basics. If our goal is to get the officers literally to engage more with the public in all these events, because that's the open window with the public. When you're at events like this and you're there providing a service and whatnot, but then they come up to you with a lot of different concerns. You bring those concerns back and says, well, what did you hear at your event? Well, what did you hear at yours? This is what I saw. And they have to make contact with those people back. And that's something that some of the recent sergeants has been helping me on. But the very basic part is actually having officers to go out there and make contact. We've been in a lot of events, and I go to outside city events, and what we stress to the staff is don't create a ball and go somewhere, right, and get in police mode. Talk to the people and actually listen and follow up. I mean, that's just something so basic. But that goes a long way, because if I can build that trust, with which we're trying to do with the PD, then we can move on into finally saying, you know what, I know I can contact them. I see him. I know who he is. I remember him by name. and we can pass on the stuff that we can use to inform them better of other projects that are coming.
I think letting your officers like play catch with the kids when they stop
Yes, sir.
by somewhere, and I've seen it already happen several times. I think goes a long way in the people trusting them, and I think pushing our tips line
Yes.
is also a pretty big deal. Need to get out and on the tire thing, there's actually grants, and they'll sell, they'll give you the plaque, those stickers that you put on your car and says if you see dumping,
Yes.
contact this number, stuff like that. So
Hey,
that's a
by the
good
way,
idea.
the safety stickers, I want to tell you, that's awesome, man. I've seen a
Yes,
lot
sir.
of people with those safety stickers about, notifying PD that somebody with autism is in the car or whatever.
Yes, sir.
And I've seen them all throughout town. I just wanted you to know, like, people really, really, went with that, and I'm happy,
Yes.
man.
We've been getting calls, and we also get people from outside the city that call. But they call and we collect that data. We get that form. We inform them to come to the PD. We install the sticker for them. With that data, we enter it into our system so that they know. We enter the vehicle plate, resident number, the person's name, all the basic information, next of alias, everything. We ask for everything.
One of the things that, like you had mentioned, the civic, the mass notification, that does have actually a survey that we can send out to our residents, that way we can get that feedback for the PD. I know myself and Juan, more likely, we have our food drive tomorrow, so we'll be out there with an iPad getting people registered for that.
Yeah.
That platform.
I just
That we can
want to
push
take
it out.
advantage of these things because, I mean, really, in the long run, the public, we're going to need their help in a lot of the stuff that, whether it's graffiti, tire, or whatever the case may be, we're going to need the public to help us out in that because they're out there more than we are, right? I mean, I know your officers can't be everywhere,
Yes, sir.
but if they see something, now they know that they can trust to call you and you guys are going to do something about it.
Yes, sir.
And that wasn't the case before, and now it is. So, we've come a long way, man. And I just feel like now that we've earned the trust of the public, now's the time for us to capitalize on that and start saying, okay, well, this is how we could, we need your help. You see something, this is what you call, this is what you do, and so forth, man.
In efforts to help our Parks Director of Public Works, on our part, we can do a lot even though it seems small. So we've been also targeting, obviously people like, hey, we've been educating them because we've given them a lot of talks about don't park on the grass, don't go on the fields and things like that. So, it's getting to the point where, obviously PD has to be involved and let them know during after hours where they're not in here. I've told the staff, we're the eyes of the city after 5. I mean, you're not going to have anybody directly to make contact with other than us. So by us enforcing people not to park on grass, be careful where they drive through and things like that, it helps them because that's how these, broken things on city property occur.
Thanks, Chief. Anybody else?
No, thank you.
Okay, thanks, sir. All right, moving on to item 12, executive session, chapter 551, Texas Government Code, section 551.071, consultation with attorney, section 551.072, deliberation regarding real property, section 551.074, personnel matters, and section 551.087, be discussion items A through C. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
Mayor, make a motion.
By
Second.
Commissioner Martinez, second, anybody?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Garcia. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. It's 8:13. We are now in executive session. Okay, it is 9 p.m. I call the meeting back in session. For the record, Commissioner Howell, Dr. Commissioner Howell is not here at the meeting, left earlier today. Moving on to item 13, back into open session. I believe we have no action, correct?
Correct. That's correct.
Which takes us to item 14, adjournment. Do I have a motion for adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
I have a motion by Commissioner Martinez, second by Commissioner Garcia. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, we are adjourned, 9:01 p.m.
Well done, Mr. Mayor.